How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. Things narcissists fear the most: unveiling their deepest insecurities. That's the title of this video. Now, let's dive deep into the psyche of narcissists and discover the fears that drive their behavior, from rejection to vulnerability. This video uncovers the hidden insecurities behind the narcissist's grandiose facade. Narcissists often present themselves as confident, self-assured individuals, but beneath this exterior lies a complex web of fears and insecurities. Understanding these fears is crucial for navigating relationships with narcissistic individuals and protecting your own well-being. In this video, we will explore things that narcissists fear the most, shedding light on the vulnerabilities that drive their behavior. Number one, fear of rejection. At the core of narcissists' psyche is an intense fear of rejection. They thrive on admiration and validation, and any form of rejection challenges their inflated self-image. This fear often leads them to manipulate situations to avoid being abandoned or criticized. Narcissists have fear of exposure. Narcissists will go to great lengths to maintain a flawless image. The thought of their true selves being exposed, vulnerable, flawed, and insecure, terrifies them. They fear that exposure will lead to humiliation and a loss of status. Narcissists have a fear of losing control. Control is paramount for narcissists. They fear losing control over people, situations, or their own emotions. This fear can manifest in manipulative behaviors and attempts to dominate others to maintain their sense of power. Narcissists have this fear of being ignored. Attention is the lifeblood of a narcissist's ego. Being ignored or overlooked makes them feel invisible and unimportant. They may resort to dramatic actions or provocations to regain the spotlight. Narcissists have fear of failure. Failure is anathema to a narcissist's self-image. They fear that failure will expose their inadequacies and shatter their illusion of superiority. This fear drives them to avoid situations where they might not succeed. The other thing that narcissists fear the most is fear of being ordinary. Narcissists crave uniqueness and distinction. The idea of being ordinary or unremarkable is deeply unsettling to them. They go to great lengths to stand out and be seen as exceptional. Narcissists have this fear of aging. Aging threatens the narcissist's appearance and vitality, which are central to their self-worth. They fear losing their physical allure and the attention it brings. This fear often leads to an obsession with maintaining a youthful appearance. Narcissists have fear of intimacy. True intimacy requires vulnerability and emotional connection, areas where narcissists struggle. They fear that intimacy will expose their flaws and make them feel weak. As a result, they often avoid deep, meaningful relationships. Narcissists pride themselves on self-sufficiency. The idea of being dependent on others for emotional support or validation threatens their sense of independence. They fear that dependency will make them appear weak and vulnerable. Narcissists have this fear of criticism. Even constructive criticism can be devastating to a narcissist. They perceive any form of critique as an attack on their self-worth. This fear can lead to defensive reactions and a refusal to accept feedback. Narcissists have this fear of losing status. Status and admiration are vital to a narcissist's identity. They fear that losing their status will lead to a loss of respect and influence. This fear drives them to protect their reputation at all costs. Narcissists have this fear of being unimportant. Narcissists need to feel significant and valued. The thought of being unimportant or overlooked is deeply unsettling to them. They fear that their existence lacks meaning without the admiration of others. Narcissists have a fear of being vulnerable. Vulnerability exposes the narcissist's true self, which they desperately try to conceal. They fear that showing vulnerability will lead to rejection and exploitation. Narcissists rely on others for validation and admiration, known as their narcissistic supply. They fear losing this source of affirmation, as it would leave them feeling empty and insignificant. Narcissists have this fear of being seen as weak. Strength and dominance are central to a narcissist's self-image. They fear being perceived as weak or powerless, as it contradicts their inflated sense of self. Narcissists have a fear of being controlled. Narcissists resist authority and hate being controlled. They fear that being controlled will undermine their autonomy and diminish their sense of superiority. Narcissists have a fear of being abandoned. Despite their grandiose behavior, they fear abandonment. They rely on others for validation, and they fear that being abandoned will leave them feeling worthless and alone. Narcissists have a fear of being exposed as a fraud. They often feel like imposters beneath their facade. They fear that others will see through their false persona and expose them as frauds. Narcissists have this fear of losing their identity. Narcissists construct a false self to protect their fragile identity. They fear that losing this false self will lead to a loss of identity and a collapse of their self-worth. Narcissists also have a fear of being overlooked. They crave attention and they fear being overlooked. They go to great lengths to ensure they remain the center of attention, and they fear being ignored or forgotten. Narcissists have a fear of being disrespected. Disrespect undermines a narcissist's sense of superiority. They fear being disrespected, as it challenges their inflated self-image and can lead to feelings of humiliation. Narcissists often rely on their charm to manipulate and influence others. They fear losing their charm, as it would diminish their ability to attract admiration and control situations. Narcissists fear being alone. Despite their need for admiration, they fear being alone. They rely on others for validation, and they fear that being alone will leave them feeling empty and unimportant. Narcissists have a fear of losing their youth. Youth represents vitality and attractiveness. Narcissists fear losing their youth, as it threatens their physical allure and the attention it brings. Narcissists fear being unnoticed. Narcissists need to be noticed and admired. They fear being unnoticed, as it makes them feel invisible and unimportant. They also have a fear of losing their social status. Social status affirms a narcissist's sense of superiority. They fear losing their social status, as it will diminish their influence and respect. Well, also narcissists fear being misunderstood, because it can lead to a loss of admiration and respect. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so. Thank you.